Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. And take a look at some pitching for today, Thursday, the 22nd of June. We have a 5-game main slate on the day, and then a 3-game slate this evening. Overall, not a ton of great pitching options in my eyes. Obviously, we get McClanahan and Mitch Keller tonight. Um, but for the main slate today, nothing really jumps off the page for the most part. There are a couple spots that are going to be strong, but let's dig in. Joe Ryan, pitching at home has been a good thing. Minnesota is a minus 170 favorite, but man, he just hasn't been strong, I guess is the best way to put it. Strikeouts did bounce back last time out against Detroit. Run prevention was not strong. Uh, I'm just not sure what's up with Joe Ryan after his hot start to the season. Uh, it might just be the fact that the innings are already catching up to him. Uh, they did get an extra day of rest coming into this one, so those extra days can help out some, but he has been getting them the last few. So I'm just not sure I can go to Joe Ryan today, especially at 11K on DraftKings. Despite being a pretty solid favorite, uh, this Boston squad has been putting up some runs this week. So I think it'll be best for me to look elsewhere. That elsewhere will end up being Blake Snell. Hasn't been as strong on the road. Walks are way up. Strikeouts are down a little bit on the road. But he's been so strong. Excuse me. The last 5 starts. Back-to-back 12 strikeout games. 30-plus DK points in 3 straight. San Francisco does strike out quite a bit. Uh, and they are far better against right-handed pitching than left. Uh, that's really going to put Blake Snell as the number one pitching option on the slate. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are just extremely afraid of that. I understand it. Uh, Blake Snell chalk previously this year has not gone well, but he's in probably the best start or spot of the studs. Logan Allen's obviously in a pretty good start spot as well, but Nola against Atlanta, I'm not really all that interested. They got to him for 3 home runs earlier this year. Uh, they've had some pretty good success against him. I think their team average over 100 and I'm guessing it was 160-ish plate appearances. Is right around 290, I believe it was, with an OPS over 800. So that's pretty strong. He is pitching at home, which is obviously his better spot. Uh, Strikeouts have been strong the last 3 starts. So, he is certainly able to put up a strong game. I'm just not sure I want to pick on a pitcher or take a pitcher picking on Atlanta right now. Bryce Elder. Looks like the Braves are going to skip AJ Smith-Shawver after yesterday's rainout. Elder's been strongest on the road. I like the way he's thrown the baseball this season. Uh, Not necessarily in love with picking on Philadelphia, but there are outs, there are strikeouts in the lineup. He did shut down a difficult Dodgers squad. So he does have the ability to do it. I will be sprinkling him into my player pool, uh, but I'm just not overly excited with it. Much prefer Blake Snell. I do think I'd take Elder over Nola, but I don't know if that's really saying all that much, considering Nola would have to face the power of the Braves. Logan Allen, minus 178 favorite. Back to back rough starts, which is worrisome. But, they came against San Diego and Houston. Kind of okay, to be expected there. He dominated Baltimore, which is a big surprise to me at that time, with his best start of the season. But he's just in a great spot. He hasn't been as strong at home, which is obviously a worry, but Uh, Oakland being one of the weakest offenses in all of baseball. I know they did score some runs against Gavin Williams yesterday, which was a little annoying, but uh, Logan Allen, 7,900, probably super popular on DraftKings. In that same game, JP Sears struggled a bit last game, but still picked up 7 strikeouts and still had a strong DK point performance. Uh, it's been pretty decent for a stretch now. Uh, walks can randomly get him. Ks can disappear, which Cleveland doesn't strike out very much. So, there is a worry there, but he's had a really solid season for the A's. Not as strong on the road. Cleveland did get to him once earlier, but he did strike out 5 and 4 2/3. So there is K ability for him in this spot. Uh, I think he might go a little overlooked as a GPP SP2. So I'm definitely interested in him on the shorter slate, just because we kind of have to be, right? Like, we don't really have a ton of options. Alex Wood, surprisingly, has not been good at home in San Francisco, which is really rough considering it's the best park for pitchers. Uh, Tough matchup with San Diego. They've kind of woken up a bit recently. I know they got shut down last night. He's coming off a very strong performance against the Dodgers. Trying to get ramped back up pitch wise. He might only throw about 80 pitches. They do treat him pretty cautiously, but on this slate, with the options we do have, I think Alex Wood is viable. That's really all for me. I was looking into Brandon Walter a little bit, as a 4K guy, projected long reliever, but he's been absolutely atrocious in the minors this season. I know we like to pick on Minnesota for some strikeouts, but man, Walter just has not been great. I'll have to dig into some of his splits in the minors and get an idea. Maybe he's getting destroyed by left-handed bats, and maybe Minnesota comes out with a bunch of righties. Not really sure yet, but yeah, he's at least on my list to look into. But 99% chance I'm going to end up with zero exposure to somebody like Walter. Looking quick at the three-gamer. Shane McClanahan and Mitch Keller, obviously the top options. McClanahan against Kansas City at home, where he's been absolutely ridiculous. Pointed this out, I think last start even, or maybe 2 starts ago, but he's just been super steady, but he doesn't cross the 30 DK point mark, which is shocking considering how strong of a pitcher he is. Even when he struck out 10, he didn't get the win. The win would have gotten him over 30, but uh, he's just super steady and strong. Very deserving of being chalk on this slate. Mitch Keller, a couple rough starts recently. Not as strong as the road, but he mixed in this dominant start against the Mets. He can definitely do it against a weak Miami squad. It's just not some lock for me that that pitcher's going to be McClanahan on the slate, but Keller is a strong option. He's actually an underdog. Miami's minus 140 in that game. Going back to McClanahan, he's just a minus 365 favorite. Just a slight favorite. But Braxton Garrett favored in the game against Mitch Keller. I've been using him a lot. Really like the way that he's been performing. Uh, I think he makes a ton of sense paired with McClanahan. Hasn't been as strong at home, which is worrisome. Giving up a lot of home runs in Miami, which is really weird. Uh, I just think that he's in a pretty good spot. So I'm hoping that those splits start to normalize over the season, just because that Miami ballpark is a pretty strong pitcher's park. Domingo Germán coming off a really rough performance against Boston, but flashed against the Dodgers, has upside, struggled against Seattle in Seattle, but he's been ridiculous at home. Seattle does strike out a ton, and the offense right now for Seattle not really clicking. So I think we have to consider Domingo Herman. Uh, I really wish this game would have been on the day slate because then Herman would really make the pool in that group of day pitchers that we're just trying to find guys for. But Brian Wu, I'm interested. K's are strong. Home run issues are a worry in this ballpark. But I do have some hesitation, and I know we shouldn't. The last 2 days, the Yankees have gotten to Luis Castillo, George Kirby, two guys that were pretty happy to play the last 2 days, and it didn't turn out overly well for us. Uh, I'm going to go back to Wu, but I do have the worries and concerns with some home runs. I know the Yankees lineup isn't all that dangerous, but some of those guys have been stepping up and hitting home runs. Bowers, McKinney. New York is just a minus 120 favorite. The game has a 7.5 total. Ironically, all three games on the slate, the total sits at 7.5 right now. No interest in Kansas City guys. Um, Austin Cox projected to be long reliever. Hasn't, excuse me, at the major league level hasn't gone more than 2 innings. Just pitched 4 days ago. I would guess that if he is the long man, he's just going to go for 2 innings again. Class is just an opener purely, so like no interest there. It looks like it's just going to be a full bullpen game for Kansas City, which probably isn't a bad thing for Tampa Bay. But with Tampa Bay being such a platoon heavy squad, there might be some pinch hitting going on with the starting lineup. So that's one thing to pay attention to for stacking purposes. There we have it. There's my first look at the pitching options and where I'm planning on eliminating guys and adding guys to my player pool. If you enjoy what I do bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get that alert anytime DFS Army drops videos. If you want to join us, get access to our tools, coaches, and Discord, I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, R-A-Z, for 10% off your monthly membership. Or we do still have the Summer 50 going on, where that will get you 50% off the first month with us. So as always, best of luck, everybody.